Alright, so NBA All-Star voting just ended a couple days ago. I think that was Thursday, if I want to be correct.
Yeah, Thursday when they announced the starters on TNT.
Right, and of course the starters were, for everybody that knows or don't know, or maybe just need a refreshing real quick, the West captain was LeBron James, with also...
Which is funny, real quick. Remember after the first... return, Steph was leading, so I thought this was going to be one of the first times LeBron thought somebody was going to finally overtake him, but he pulled it out in the end.
So on the West for the starters, you got LeBron, Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, first-timer John Morant, and first-timer Andrew Wiggins. And that's the West All-Stars starters right now, as of now. And the East goes Trae Young, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid,
DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan, my bad, and
Giannis
Antetokounmpo. Of course, this was funny though. We're gonna get into this, but shout out to of course, as always, the first timers, John Morant and Andrew Wiggins. Are those the only first timers this year?
So far, because of course they haven't announced the reserves yet, but it's cool for your first time to be a starter.
Right,
because this is Trae's second time in the All-Star.
So. Second time as a starter as well.
Yep.
But shout out to all those players that made it. We finna really get into this topic in a minute just because of how crazy it was on NBA Twitter. But I'm John W.
It's for sure.
And it's the Hoopers Hour on Nothing But Net Radio, presented to you by Dash Radio. So if you saw them announce it on Twitter, I think that's the All-Star starters is, especially the West. I think one name stood out among everybody. Of course, everybody was high on Ja Morant making it this year. As long as Steph and LeBron play, they're going to be starters for the most part. And Nikola Jokic, all he got to do is play as well. But Andrew Wiggins, the fifth starter in the West, his first time All-Star, first-time All-Star starter, had NBA Twitter in a frenzy. And not just like fans or people who post independent content, writers, podcasters, bloggers, or whatnot, but it even had some media people and players in a tiff as well. And of course, we know they were talking about Andrew Wiggins because he's the only player who people felt like didn't deserve to make it as an All-Star starter. But as you brought up to me a little while ago, we were headed to your basketball game about we were leaving. But you brought up how, I questioned it. Could Andrew Wiggins be an All-Star this year?
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, maybe early in the month. So probably about 4 episodes ago, for real.
But as I was explaining back then, even to right now, it still stands true. There was a lot of injuries, like just in the front court in general. Paul George, Kawhi, Anthony Davis missed a lot of games, so you can basically count 2 of those 3 out. But then if you just look at the season that Andrew Wiggins is having, he's having a really good season. I know last year he started off kind of slow and he picked it up, but this year he came out the gates on fire. He's averaging about 18.5 points. I ain't gonna get into the assists and rebounds because I'm pretty sure it's like 4 and 5 apiece. Then he's also adding, I don't know what the number is right now, but for the most part of the season, he's been an elite 3-point shooter. And when I say elite, I don't
41% on the season.
There we go. And like I say, when I say elite, I don't mean total and league average 34, 35, 36. Like he's been their leading 3-point percentage-wise shooter for Golden State for most part of the year. And it's just funny because Andrew Wiggins was one of those players. He was the number 1 pick. He was the Rookie of the Year. That's what, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to be. He's been basically a 20-point scorer his whole career, outside of maybe 1 season in Minnesota and his 2 years in Golden State so far. But to see a player get rewarded for having a good season and being in a big enough market to where the fans will recognize that on a winning team, why are we surprised that he's an All-Star starter? In all honesty, I don't get it for real.
Right, and Wiggins is a guy who I initially, when he first came to the Warriors, and when Klay, so I'm gonna just take it back when he went to the Warriors and then Klay gets hurt. I initially just thought this is how I viewed him. All right, Klay's hurt. He's just gonna step up and be the number 2 scoring wise. As far as averaging 20 a game, he's averaged 20 before, and he wasn't doing that initially. I mean, he didn't do it overall for the season. So you just looked at it as him having a bad season, which he did start off pretty slow. But as he got comfortable with the Warriors, he locked in defensively, which is what he said he wanted to do there. And his efficiency just took kind of another step. Like last year, he shot a career high at 3-point percentage, shooting 38% from three, 47% from the field. Then you come in this year, still kind of in that rhythm, 48% from the field, 41% from three. So he had career highs last year, got other career highs this year. Not a career high scoring, because he only had 18.2 a game. He was 18.6 last year. But to be shooting 48% from the field, 41 from three, and then you just add, I mean, he's probably going to be all defense, whether it's first team or second team. He's probably going to make that. I think people, you got to reward what he's doing, and you got to appreciate what he's doing. And I am a guy, you can go back and listen to past episodes. I've never really been high on Andrew Wiggins. Right. I never thought he would. I mean, he's been a solid player, but I never thought he lived up to being a number one pick. I view number one picks as people that's supposed to be franchise altering, and some people thought he was gonna be franchise altering. I never really saw that in him, so that's kind of how I judged him. But people are like, when you look at the response on NBA Twitter, everyone feels like that if the person that they think should be supposed to be an all-star, then that means it is wrong. But why can't it be looked at as a way of saying, instead of saying this who should have made it? Because obviously, I thought Paul George might have still made it since he's played some of the year, and then he was just been an injury replacement or whatever. But the people haven't seen him in a while, and Paul George isn't, no disrespect, he isn't, I don't want to say he isn't highly liked, but clearly over the last few years, people have kind of liked to see him fail or whatever. So it's not surprising that he didn't stay up there in the top with voting. Kawhi's been out all year, so that's not surprising. So, I mean, that did open up an opportunity for him to get the spot. So I do think it should have been met with a little bit more of appreciation and saluting the jump that he's taken to contributing to winning, to really locking in defensively, which is what a lot of people always wanted to see him do. And even though he's taken a slight step back in score, I mean, his career high is 23 points per game. He averaged 19 his first year in Golden State, I believe, when he got traded there or whatever. That first half, he was about 19 a game, so he been kind of took the step back scoring. We've seen Jordan Poole emerge as a scorer. Steph is usually around 27, 28 points a game. So it's more so about him being efficient. But either way, to wrap it up, I was surprised to see, as tough as it was in the 2000s, as people were on people, when somebody like Wiggins does get that spot, or even, I mean, just look back to last year when Julius Randle had the season that he had, it was met with a lot more appreciation. It was like, yeah, he should be in MVP conversations. I mean, this man just made his first All-Star game, and he gets the first, he's a starter. And everything is initially, he's going to be the last player to get picked. He's the worst all-star ever. But it should have been, look at the jump that Wiggins has made, going from an owner having to have Wiggins convince him to give him a contract because he wants to know he takes basketball seriously, to him showing it and contributing to a winning team. So you gotta salute the progress that Wiggins has made, for real.
Nah, yeah, for sure. And even just to stick with All-Star voting just for a couple minutes more. But like, even I know, of course, people saying, Devin Booker should have got that spot, or
Wiggins is another front court player.
Right.
Also, right.
Right. To my point, I'm going to just get to the point then.
Well, no, I was asking.
He's in as a front court player.
Okay.
But
because John and Steph would be the guards, obviously.
But the thing is, I seen somebody saying, how they formatted. Why is why they got why does it have to be like that? There's no position. This is the thing. They've already changed the format once because y'all said that the center position was pointless on the All-Star ballot because there wasn't enough good centers in the league, truthfully. So now they switched to two backcourt players, three front court players. Like, even if it was the old format, guess what? Devin Booker still not starting. Donovan Mitchell still not starting. Neither one of them was gonna start over Ja or Steph. Is that Like I'm seeing somebody said Luka should be starting over Andrew Wiggins. Well,
Luka's not. He's a guard. He's not a front court player.
Which he still.
So he would have to. Ja got their spot. So they need to go. They need to go holler at Ja.
And in the words of Kevin Durant, if you feel like if you feel like he don't deserve that spot, go play him for it.
Yeah, the only
he'll never do that, but go play him for it.
The only debatable player for him is really nobody. Honestly, like when you think about a front court player,
of course, when you go front court, you can
say Gobert or Cat. Those were the first. Cat was the first person to come to mind for me.
And people throw Draymond Green in there.
Yeah, Cat was the first person to come to mind to me, and then I'm like, Golden State so much better than Minnesota. I would have gave it to Wiggins. So you go Cat, you go Gobert, and some think I don't even think Draymond's an All-Star this year, but some would say Draymond. I can see why Gobert wouldn't get the votes over Wiggins. So that's his competition for that spot, honestly, when you think about it. So it makes sense, honestly. Paul George is out, Kawhi is out. I mean, so he stepped up to the plate.
Thanks. Anthony Davis missed a big portion.
Yeah, Anthony Davis. So,
and I think people forget, just to go back to the Luka one real quick, he makes a big portion of the season. He's only been back like a week and a half, honestly.
Right, yeah, Luka's been out a long time. So I mean, it all makes sense. And with who was available, I mean, when you really think about it, I hadn't even really thought about that like that until now, honestly. When we thought about it, it was the opportunity for him to get the spot. So salute to Andrew Wiggins for making the team. But with the conversation we had, it all started because I was like, people were going to be upset if he wasn't an all-star. So he was good enough to be an all-star, but he was not good enough to be an all-star
I just think somebody could compare Shea.
I mean, even that spot would be Zion. Zion is out. That's another. He was a starter. He was a replacement starter, but he was voted into the All-Star game last year. So that's another spot that's out. Like I saw somebody say Brandon Ingram. The Pelicans are terrible. Brandon Ingram's not making no All-Star game. No,
I seen somebody compare Shea numbers to Andrew Wiggins numbers.
OKC's terrible. No. And Shea's a guard.
Right, once again.
Brandon Ingram's a forward, but I'm about to pull up Brandon Ingram numbers real quick.
And why are you doing that? I want to go to the East All-Stars because, of course, as we know...
Yeah, I would take Wiggins over him. He averaged 22 a game. He's shooting 34% from the field and 44% from three. I would take Wiggins.
Say that right? 34 from the field, 44 from three?
44 from the field, 34 from three.
Oh, yeah, Wiggins having a better season. Especially when you add in defense. But we go over to the East with Kevin Durant, who we know won't be playing because of a sprained MCL. Who do you see taking his place as a starter? If you had to pick somebody right now, who would you put right there?
I don't know. Once they put out the reserves, it'll probably be Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
But once the reserves are announced, I would start Zach LaVine. I thought Zach LaVine should have been the starter anyway, but him and DeRozan were both guards, so DeRozan got the
and I know DeRozan was another one that people was
because they tell me he's a small forward. He's actually always been a shooting guard. He was a shooting guard in Toronto.
You can go on Basketball Reference.
He's listed as a power forward on Basketball Reference. When the hell has DeMar DeRozan ever played power forward in his life? Never.
It's like I said, it's like the Magic Johnson thing. You go back and look on Basketball Reference.
DeMar DeRozan is not a power forward. I couldn't even have a serious conversation with.
It's four guards on the court. That don't mean one of them's a power forward. It's just four guards on the court.
Even in their even in that lineup, he's not the power forward.
No, he handles the ball on the wing still. Like it's just four. It's more likely it's 2 point guards, 2 shooting guards out there. Yeah. I don't think we want to go to positionless basketball, but then we do this. Like this is what this player is listed as, so this is what he should be voted as. Like nah, DeMar DeRozan.
He's a shooting guard. He's always been a shooting guard.
Right. He just happened to be on the court with other shooting guards. But I think the All-Star game should be fun this year. What I don't think is going to be fun, because it's fresh in my head because they changed the format, it's the rookie-sophomore game, which, to, I guess, try to draw more interest in it, they changed the format again to where it's going to be the G League. It's going to be, 3 teams?
Yeah, so how they're pretty much doing it is they're choosing between 12 second-year players, 12 rookies, first-year players, and then there's going to be 4 G League at night players. I don't know why the G League at night players are involved, since technically they aren't really in the NBA. They're there for development, but whatever. And they're supposed to split them up into 3 teams, I believe it is, and they're gonna play like a tournament style to win a game, to win a championship or something like that. That's pretty much what they're doing. Adam Silver, just go back to rookies versus sophomores. If you want to have the G League and night players in it, go ahead and do it. Nobody cared about the world versus the whatever game. It was unnecessary. Just do rookies versus sophomores. It's just that simple. We would have loved to see when they were rookies like Ja Morant and Zion play on teams together, just like we got to see LeBron, Wade, and Melo,
right,
and stuff like that.
Deprived of a Zion versus Luka Trey thing and rookie sophomore game.
Like Luka Trey would have been on the same team. Like
yeah.
Luka and Trey, just go back to rookies versus sophomores. It's just that simple.
Nah, yeah, I agree with you. We can stop that one right there. Cole Anthony says he's gonna enter the slam dunk contest. I think we've all seen Cole Anthony high school highlights to this point. We've seen that he can jump out the gym, he can do some nice tricks with the ball. But when it comes to being a slam dunk contest contestant, I think it's a little different because now you actually have to have that personality in your dunks. Like, we all look at Vince Carter for what he was doing, but it was personality behind his dunks. If you really truthfully think about it, like the honey dip, that's personality. Even the 360 windmill, that's personality. Like, I don't know I think that's the problem. Like, we've seen every dunk under the sun to this point that most of them could human possibly do, but who's really had that flair of a Vince Carter, of the Dwight Howard, Nate Robinson coming out in the all green Knicks joint like kryptonite for Dwight Howard?
Man, the closest you had was Zach LaVine and then Adam Gordon. Like, we get them every couple of years, honestly. So this might be the year to do it because I mean, Cole definitely has a lot of confidence. So I could definitely see him having some swag with him out on the dunk contest. I don't know if I'm choosing him to win. I need to see the rest of the field. But if anything, I believe Cole will bring a show to the dunk contest.
And for people that's questioning it, I feel like this is kind of like the Brandon Jennings thing, his rookie year, where he said was that his rookie year, where he said he was going to enter the slam dunk contest, but he eventually didn't enter.
Yeah, he didn't enter it. Yeah,
like, and I know people are like, oh, why would he only have like, I think up to that point in the season he had like, out of all the 4 contestants, he would have had the least amount of dunks at like 25, or maybe it was 2.
Yeah, but most of these guys in the NBA can do different type of, like, windmills, go to the legs. It's all about timing and stuff, honestly. So pretty much every player in the league can dunk. So if you can figure it out. And Brandon, I mean, if you go back to his high school highlights, you can see him in the left line, literally going through the legs, windmills, throwing it up behind the backwards dunks, and everything. So he had hops.
No, yeah, for sure. But I kind of do want to see who else is going to be in it, because Cole Anthony is an interesting one just to start it off. Like, who is going to be the competition? I know the dunk contest hasn't really been the big draw over the last couple of years. It's been more the 3-point shootout, which I can't wait to see who's going to be in that, honestly.
Yeah, the last I think the last good dunk contest might have been the Aaron Gordon one, which has been a couple of years now. So we due for a solid one. It's just a matter of what players are gonna get into it. That's usually a draw, because sometimes you do want to just see the ultra athletic players in it, but it's always cool when you get a star player or a young up and coming player that you kind of know who they are in the dunk contest.
No, for sure. I seen something the other day. Jaren Jackson, I can't remember the exact date, but basically he's been leading the month. I'm pretty sure he's leading the month of January in blocks, and the next closest person is like 50 behind him. John Morant on Twitter said he's the NBA Defensive Player of the Year. Do you think Jaren Jackson has a chance to be in that conversation with how good Memphis is? They are a good defensive team. He has been a solid rim protector for them. Do you think he has a chance of sneaking in there?
This year, probably not. Because even though he did that over the past month, that's not all season. So he still got to put more consistency with it. But that's job pumping up his teammate to get him into the conversation. Because, I mean, it's still, we played more than half of the season now. So, but it's still some time to go. If you put up some really impressive numbers, it's hard to get into that conversation because people, it just is what it is. Rudy Gobert will win it every year if you just leave it up to the normal people that writes it in. Maybe he's deserving of it every year, but Sixth Man of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year is always easy to just go to the names that you know. That's why wing players get overlooked all the time. Certain bigs get overlooked all the time because it's easy just to go to Rudy Gobert to do it. It's easy to, like, it was just easy to give Lou Will and Jamal Crawford the Sixth Man of the Year every year. It's gonna be Rudy Gobert and Draymond the Defensive Player of the Year every year, every couple of years. Those awards are ones where you have to really dive in and look like at more than just the team defense and their analytical numbers, because I mean, when you play with better defenders, your numbers are always amazing. I mean, Miles Turner's led the league in blocks for years, and I don't think he make
close.
It like
he don't even come close to
not even to an all defense team.
Nah, yeah,
it's like how's he not even in consideration at times. So it's wing players that should be considered, but we only get one every couple of years. It was Kawhi for the longest, so nobody else could be in the conversation. But T. Styles should be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. We shouldn't just be talking about Draymond and Rudy Gobert. So that's what's gonna make it tougher for Jaren Jackson.
No, that's fair. And just real quick, you ain't got to do it right now because I know you haven't thought about it, but you about ready to start your awards picking or award predictions?
I've looked at some people overall. I got people who I like in the MVP. What's funny for me is I always look at the whole totality of the season, and like people are gonna easily go with like Embiid is hot right now, and KD is out because I thought KD was in the lead for a while, but then he gets hurt. But I mean, Embiid missed some time at the beginning of the season too. So why does his missed time matter less than KD's missed time? The most consistent player throughout the season is Jokic, but then also, you gotta look at how he's carrying Denver, and that's probably who my favorite is right now, honestly, because he's been the most consistent. He hasn't been out with injuries. His team has been hurt with injuries, and he's keeping them, like, he's winning games for them. I don't think you have to have the best record. I just think if you're in the top six, that's what helped Westbrook win it. It was the triple-double. Excuse me. It was the triple-doubles. And if I'm not mistaken, they finished sixth that year, right? Yeah. Finishing top six, especially with a depleted roster, I think gets you points. Because it's like, all right, he missing some players, or all right, his talent not up to this level, and he still got them in the 6th seed, which is, if you in the 6th seed in the West, I mean, you probably kind of pretty close to the 4 seed, just take a little winning streak. So it's not the same as when you're like Steph finishing top 3 was kind of crazy to me last year because they were in the play-in. They finished like 9th. I don't think I would have voted him MVP last year, but if they were 6, he probably could have won it. So with the Nuggets being 6, down Jamal Murray, down Michael Porter for the whole year, and he wasn't playing well when he was out there anyway, honestly. And he's been consistent because you gotta be like, what takes them, what gives them the advantage of the other one. So he's been out there the whole season. So Jokic is probably who I got in the lead right now. And then people are watching Embiid right now because KD is out, so they're gonna go more so Embiid. But when KD was out there, he was doing the same thing Embiid was doing. So, but I like Jokic right now in MVP. Rookie of the Year, I still like Evan Mobley on top of that. I think Cade Cunningham is gaining some ground. Defensive Player of the Year, I've been looking at Thibault. I like Mobley in that. That one is I will say it's wide open. I like Thibault in that conversation. I like Mobley in that conversation. Yes, the rookie. I do like Miles Turner to get some consideration. I do like Gobert and Draymond's chances also. I think they're worthy people, but I don't think I don't have that locked up. Right. The most interesting one for me has been most improved, because coming into the season, I thought it was a good chance for Jordan Poole. Recently, I've been saying I like DeJounte Murray to finish second, but I think it's Garland's. But I wonder, could Andrew Wiggins possibly be in that conversation? And probably not. I probably would give it to Garland over Andrew Wiggins. I like Garland in most improved.
Right. just a quick thought. Like with having, I know you say you got Evan Mobley in there for Defensive Player of the Year, and not because he's a rookie, but do you think playing with Jared Allen, some people kind of chop some of those votes off of him?
That too, because I was gonna say he may lose some votes because I do think Jared Allen deserves some consideration. So, right. But I think Mobley does more. Jared Allen definitely protects the paint for them, but you'll see Mobley in the paint. You'll see him switching on the outside. So that's why I give Mobley a little more. I give him a little, not that he deserves more credit, but I got him more in that conversation because of how versatile he is. That's why I think he's the key to him and Garland are the key to the whole Cleveland team, honestly, because Mobley makes them versatile on offense and defense. And we done talked about that before, so I don't got to go into it.
The Atlanta Hawks have won 7 games in a row. I think they're 1 game out of the play-in spot.
Now they should be in.
Or did that win against the Lakers put them right there?
They're in 10th. They're in play-in.
Oh, they're in play-in.
Especially the Wizards lost the other night. So yeah.
And as we all know, the season is a marathon. Yep. It's a long season. As you like to say, survival of the fittest, survival of the strongest. To see where the Hawks are now, considering where they were 2-3 weeks ago when they looked like they were kind of falling off the rails, the fans were kind of turning on Nate McMillan. I haven't seen any of that talk lately about firing Nate. Outside of just the defensive effort, what's been the real thing that's helped the Hawks in this 7-game win streak?
First, you have to start with the fact that they have their whole team back. Everybody is back. They
missed today against the Lakers.
No, he played.
He
ended up playing. Yep, he played. Okay. They have the Hawks had their full roster in the other night against the Kings. We went to that game. They had the full roster in that game for the first time since like March of 2021 last year, basically. So everybody was there because even remember, you got to think last year. Like, even when they went on the win streak, they still were down Cam because Cam was out hurt. Mm-hmm. So this is the first time they had everybody there. So you get everybody back and healthy. Everybody looks healthy. Mm-hmm. So that's helping spread the offense around too. The second unit has looked really strong because we've been to a couple games recently, and the starters have kind of lagged. But like Gallo you could tell he's in good shape now. Yeah. Like he's in because he started season hurt. He started season hurt last year. He started season hurt, then he got hit with COVID. You can tell he's in shape. Like he dunked backwards the other day. His step backs is going crazy. So to have him, their second unit is better than most people's second unit. So like I've literally watched them coming to the games now 10. And the second unit is so much better than the other second unit. They're getting some firepower. Like Lou has shown some life recently. DeLon Wright is playing better. I just think having everybody back makes the ball spread around. There's more shots. Bogdanovich has been big in his last couple games back. So more people being there makes it spread around, and that doesn't make the ball stick with Trey. I'm real big on the Hawks don't win when Trey take 10 plus more shots than the other players on the team, even if it's 9 more shots. Trey doesn't need to be taking 10 plus more shots than everyone else on the team. And since everybody's been back, I mean, even tonight, Trey had 36. He took, I think, about 22 shots tonight. John Collins got 13. I think Gallinari took 9. Dre took 5. Kevin Huerter's getting shots by Donovan. Everybody's getting shots, so it's different. Opposed to, it was a lot of games before where Trey was 25 shots and the next closest was 8. And the Hawks weren't winning like that.
No, yeah, definitely. And not the harp on them because...
And the defense has gotten better also.
Right, so yeah, just that defensive effort, honestly. And it's all been since MLK Day. I know Pat Benton's real proud. Pat Benson put that up on Twitter the other day.
Yep. We talked about it on that episode that the streak was going to start with that Bucks game, and they pulled it together and got it together. And I think another key has been... They've gotten Capella back recently, but even while they were waiting on Capella to get back, Big O, he really showed a lot of... He's shown that he's going to be a force defensively because he moves really well. He protects the paint pretty good, which is crazy because he's only like 6'8". So he does protect the paint pretty good. And now you got Capella back, And Capella's looking like he's in a little bit better shape than he was to start the year too. So the defensive effort has been better too. But having the whole roster back helps.
No, for sure. Like I say, just real quick, I know the trade happening is over, and sometimes you gotta just sometimes getting rid of players helps the whole team overall. Do you think maybe getting Cam Reddish out of there in the trade kind of helps because it kind of not everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. Everybody knows what they're supposed to be at. There's not as many ball handlers on the second unit now. It's really just DeLon Wright and Lou Williams. Like you don't have to worry about letting Cam find his rhythm and motion into it because he's not just gonna spot up and shoot. Do you kind of think that subtraction was the best addition in this situation?
I mean, I think it helped overall because for one, they were trying to find minutes and things like that for Cam, but at the end of the day, I'm a big component of having that 10, 11 deep really don't mean nothing. Like, it's really a headache. You really rather just have a strong 8. And when they were winning last year, Cam wasn't really a part of that, so people did kind of like, if we're going through Trey, he has the ball. John Collins is kind of the secondary option, but really Dre is really kind of, because if you really notice, they want Dre to be that wing scorer. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is supposed to be like that Kawhi for them or whatever. So when he's going, they try to put the confidence in him to go. So everybody already got that pecking order. Bogdanovich, whether he's starting to coming off the bench, when he's in, he's looking for his shot, he's handling the ball, pick and roll and stuff like that. And then for Kevin Hurt, so a lot of those roles were already taken, and then you're trying to find the minutes for Cam, and so now you got to deal with his consistency or inconsistency because since his rookie year, this is his first time really playing. He was hurt last year or whatever, so now being able to lock it in, and it's not like Cam had some good games, but it's not like he's just knocking your socks off every night. He's not scoring 30 every night. He's not scoring 20 every night. He's giving good effort every night. He's making good plays, but sometimes it is just to have those solidified people. Honestly, Nate, he's one of them coaches that is stuck in his ways, and he got comfortable playing certain players last year, and that helped win. So I'm sure it helps that being cleared up, knowing, all right, we going to these guys, and then you can figure out if Kevin Knox helps. I mean, honestly, Kevin Knox has played more than Cam has played in New York, but it's not like you're trying necessarily to get Kevin Knox minutes. If you can get him in, you get him in. So that's really a man down in your rotation. It's a man down in your rotation, but your rotation more solidified because you were trying to give out too many minutes because they didn't want to sit Cam, because what if this is the night that he goes for 30? What if this is the night where he gives those big defensive efforts? So you want to try to find minutes for him, but that 11 deep, multiple players things, it don't. That's not how you win in the NBA. It sounds good. But that ain't how you win in the NBA.
That's only good for trade bait. Basically, that's trade talk.
Basically, because you just got to think. Cam he played 24 minutes a night here, almost 25 a night, and they traded him for a player that they don't plan on playing. So most of the times, if you lose 25 minutes, you would think that's an important piece to the team. Cam was supposed to be important to what the Hawks were trying to do, but the fact that you can lose 25 minutes a night and it doesn't really disrupt your rotation, it just shows that you were trying to feed too many players, which happens at times like that. You do want to see what Cam gives for you because, like you said, he can have that night where he's going. It's like, all right, when he's going, he'll make 3-4 threes in a row, get to the bucket and make some assists, so you want to let him do it. But when he's not going, then you got to deal with that factor.
Oh, for sure. Miami Heat have taken over the number one spot in the Eastern Conference. They're a game ahead of Chicago Bulls. I think it's a game and a half now. And, of course, all offseason, people talk about the Miami Heat not as necessarily a contender, but as a team that can ruin a contender's playoff championship chances, I can say. Of course, they always tell, Brooklyn better look out for this team. Milwaukee, Philly better look out for the Miami Heat. And at some point, because Miami Heat do have championships, they have 3 in their team's history, they're always a good outing. But do you feel like Miami Heat get the contender talk, or is it just they're always an underdog talk? Like, I feel like it's more, nobody takes them serious as a contender, but they're always a great underdog to take. Do you kind of feel the same way?
Honestly, they get that because of some of the role players they get. But truth be told, this year I didn't look at them as underdogs. You got Bam, who is supposed to be a consistent All-Star. You got Jimmy Butler, who you paid a lot of money to be there. You paid Duncan Robinson a lot of money to be there. You
gonna trade for Kyle
Lowry, and Kyle Lowry's making $30 a year. I thought Miami should have been trying to compete, honestly, but they do fall in the underdog because they're low key and the Miami Heat way and stuff like that. So, but they became underdogs because they were missing a lot of players. But if the Heat didn't finish top 4, honestly, they really didn't have a great season. I didn't expect them to be number 1, but I always looked at them as a team that should have been trying to compete in the East. It's not like you're just developing. Jimmy Butler's not a young player. Kyle Lowry's not a young player. So, I mean, he's trying to win the finals. Honestly, they're trying to win this year. Really.
I definitely agree. But like, I'm just
people
thinking
do
back
give
to the
them the
offseason.
underdog.
That's how like a lot of sports talk about them like they're an underdog instead of them being a contender. Like, I know a lot.
Miami's trying to win now.
No, yeah, they are. But I like just think about some off-season conversations, like especially with Brooklyn. Oh, they can give Brooklyn a scare in the playoffs. Like, why would they give them a scare? Why can't they just outright beat them as a contender, as a championship contender? And like I said, I think it does have to do with that Heat coach. And I also think it has to do with them never, outside of Wade and Shaq and LeBron, players they traded and signed for Chris Bosh, they've never had a superstar personality on that team. Not superstar talent, like not all-star talent. Like Jimmy Butler is a good personality, but Jimmy Butler is out so much. You never really get to see Jimmy Butler. Bam is pretty quiet off the court. Tyler Hero, I don't think he's reached that level of household nameship yet.
Nah, hell no.
But do you think the Miami Heat is one of them teams? It's never going to happen because that's not how they operate. If one falls into their lap, they'll take it. But do you kind of think that is what Miami's missing to be considered a championship contender instead of a playoff ruiner? I guess we can call them that because they're not an underdog, but they, like I said, they get talked about as an underdog.
Yeah, probably so. Because I don't know what they would be missing, but that does usually do it because Miami. Will we say that Miami's a major market team?
I don't think so.
So it's like they're like one of those middle market teams where like the Heat fans care if they win because they won, but they really don't. Because remember, it was always the thing about how like the fans didn't stay for the game. People, it's a strong history of people getting on the fans or whatever. But like, if they did consistently have that player, because when it was Wade, they were a draw. They did really mess with Wade.
Think of some of those LeBron years where you wouldn't see fans get there really until the second quarter.
Because it wasn't just Wade. When it was just Wade, they were showing up. But when it was Wade and LeBron,
it was too much.
They took their time. They took their time.
Like, it was a lot of times they say them.
It's always so much other stuff going on in Miami or whatever. But I think it's just because you don't hear Pat Riley or anybody saying anything crazy. They don't make big outlandish moves or whatever. Even a major signing for like Kyle Lowry was like still kind of low key. So that's why people just look at them as like, oh yeah, they can make some noise. But in this roster, they need to be trying to compete for a championship. Jimmy Butler we ain't got to talk about how much he make. But Jimmy Butler's getting paid to win a championship.
Right. And like they're still waiting on Victor Oladipo to come back and see how he works into the roster. I don't even know when he's coming back.
Does Victor Oladipo seriously contribute to Miami?
I think coming off the bench, yeah. Like
if he's healthy, right?
Yeah. I don't think they should try to force him in the starting lineup, but I think if he's healthy.
Yeah, who will he start over?
Well, Max Strus is starting right now over Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. So
I know Tyler because off the bench. I thought Duncan was back in the starting lineup.
Well, maybe he is. I know last time I seen it, he was coming off the bench, but you never know.
Yeah, I think he's made it back to the starting lineup now.
But speaking of former Miami Heat players, Goran Dragic, who was in the Kyle Lowry trade to the Toronto Raptors from Miami Heat, he hasn't played a game this season, to my knowledge. And the Toronto Raptors don't necessarily look like they're tanking right now because they got a lot of healthy players, especially their better players.
Toronto's in 8th place, so they're trying to make playoffs.
The way you feel about how John Wall isn't playing in Houston, regardless of what their situation is, why isn't that same kind of talk being, maybe it is, I don't know, but I haven't really heard him out talking about it. Well, why isn't that same conversation being had with Goran Dragic of either A, let him get him on the, if he's hurt, that's one thing. I don't know if he's hurt or not, but either A, get him on the court or B, trade him. Like, what are you holding him for?
So when I looked at it, I'm looking it up on Basketball Reference. It says that he hasn't played because it says he's been out since November 30th. It says he's out for a personal matter.
So
Excuse me. There's no timetable for his return. But it's also been well spoken of how basically he wanted to play for Dallas because he wanted to play with Luka, and that's how he gonna end his career in the NBA. He wanted to play with Luka for however many years he got left. So that has been something that's been swept under the rug, but because I hadn't even thought about it, because I really didn't know that he wasn't playing, honestly. But I do think it has something to do with he wants to play. He wants to play with Luka for sure, and it is something that people are overlooking because Toronto is playing pretty well and they have a really solid organization overall. But I guess if they're on the same page about it, that's when I don't have a problem with it. So that I don't know. Maybe they're on the same page. We don't really need you. You don't really want to be here anyway. We can't just give you to Dallas, so I guess they're going to figure it out later. But when it is different, where the player want to play and stuff like that, and you just hold them out, that's when I don't like it in those situations, for sure. But so maybe they're working it out. I don't really know though, because it's not getting coverage. So.
That's just the whole thing. Right. Maybe they have already agreed to something and we just don't know. But like I said,
they have said he want to play with Dallas,
and it's just one of the things that's not being talked about anywhere. Like I don't think anybody's realized. I'm pretty sure people in Toronto, people that cover the Toronto Raptors have talked about it, but I don't think anybody's actually noticed that Goran Dragic hasn't played a game for the Toronto Raptors this year in a season where they probably could use him to gain some playoff leverage.
And he played overseas. He played in the Olympics this summer with Slovenia. So
like I said, maybe they're working on something. Maybe Iguodala style. Like,
and it's funny because Dallas probably wanted him until Jalen Brunson is playing, but they can still use him off the bench. They could definitely use him off the bench.
No, excuse me. Yeah, they definitely can use him off the bench. Like I said, just a funny situation.
And Dallas is rolling right now too, so.
Good for Dallas. So, as I'm on Twitter scrolling every day, just through NBA Twitter, two things have come up almost every day. The Knicks in turmoil and Sacramento trading De'Aaron Fox. Of course, a lot of the trade talk is really, a lot of people are just saying just do a swap for De'Aaron Fox with Julius Randle. Somebody do that. So, Julius Randle can be the stretch forward that Tyler Halliburton need, and that way Tyler Halliburton get to basically take over the point guard spot, and then New York get the point guard that they need in De'Aaron Fox. I don't know if that trade will happen or not, but I guess if you're Sacramento and you're looking to get off De'Aaron Fox, I guess you do that trade, but I still feel the same way as when I saw the Sabonis trade. If you're Sacramento and you got a player who's already kind of budding right there, and you can bring in an all-star big man for him, maybe trade the younger player. I don't know, but you still, like, what is Sacramento trying to do? Because you still got Marvin Bagley on the team as well, who will be in that spot. So
if I trade for Julius Randle, Marvin Bagley is definitely a part of that deal, and I would be sending him to New York. But I know Tibbs would definitely prefer De'Aaron Fox because he's older.
Automatically.
So I definitely know he would prefer him. But I mean, why would Sacramento want to do that? Honestly, because
Halliburton, they're not building for anything. I guess
exactly, but you're not building for nothing. But obviously, Julius Randle doesn't fit Halliburton's timeline, unless you're thinking that he's already ready to win and he's the better player going forward than De'Aaron Fox, because that could be what they think. Maybe they think De'Aaron Fox, the ship has sailed. We like Halliburton. He's going to be the starting point guard. Maybe that's what they think. I don't know. We tried to figure out what they're thinking the other day. It didn't work out. And they looked pretty terrible when we went to watch them play.
They looked terrible when Davion Mitchell wasn't in the game.
They did, and Gentry took him out of the game with a lot of bad subs, but whatever. But if I'm the Knicks and I could trade Julius Randle for De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley, I would do it. Why not? Go ahead. You get the point guard you need. That gets more times for Obi. Maybe Marvin Bagley finds his game in New York. And you can go on from there, honestly.
That's fair.
Sacramento. Got Julius Randle. Halliburton. Maybe you think that's puts you in a better chance to make the playoffs because, I mean, you still got veterans in Rashawn Holmes, Harrison Barnes, Buddy Hield. So I don't know if you're getting out of those players too. But maybe if you think that Halliburton is the player to lead you now and you could possibly win, because even though he's young, he really is kind of older.
Well, Halliburton.
Yeah.
I think he came out as a sophomore or junior.
Yeah. So he's a little bit older than players are these days. But
I seen an interesting fact the other day, just speaking of player ages. You know Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes is the same age? Maybe somebody was over-exaggerating. But I seen on Twitter that Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield is the same age. That really doesn't even make sense to me. Like,
yeah, because they were like years apart in the draft.
But I'm pretty sure Buddy Hield got redshirted as well.
Buddy Hield definitely got redshirted, but he definitely came out as a junior. So he definitely was in school for a while.
Somebody exaggerating on Twitter.
But that's how it is. It wouldn't be surprised. Like, and Harrison Barnes came out as a sophomore.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, but it just seemed like because they were in two totally different draft classes, like totally different. Like the NBA wasn't even the same when Harrison Barnes got drafted
at all. Like not even close. Yeah, Halliburton, he's 21. So
no, Buddy Hield.
No, I was looking at Halliburton because I was trying to figure out how much older he was. Wait, Buddy Hield? Yeah, Buddy Hield is pretty old, I guess. But dang, I mean, he's almost 30.
Yeah. So with that being said, if you go get Julius Randle, why would you trade De'Aaron Fox?
And Buddy Hield's a 5-year pro. Harrison Barnes is a 9-year pro.
Wait, so they are the same age?
They're the same, yeah. They're both 29. Harrison Barnes is 29. He's going to be 30 soon before Buddy Hield, but Buddy Hield is 29.
And when you hear that, and I know Buddy Hield, like say Buddy Hield's only been in the league for 5 years, but once again, if you hear that, and you think of trading for Julius Randle or Domantas Sabonis, players who've made All-Star games and helped the team go to the playoffs, why would you want to go younger instead of sticking with the older players? So now maybe we build something with not necessarily veteran players, but players who have experience in the league at this point. Is my question now. Right,
like I said, you basically just got to be building towards him. Maybe okay with Halliburton and Davion Mitchell, and that's what you think going to get you in the playoffs. Because, I mean, even Davion he's older too for a young player. He's older than Halliburton, and he's a rookie. So, and
just speaking of Halliburton real quick, who I know a lot of people love coming out of college and still love to this day. I know there was some question about him, and I would say this, and I know this ain't the thing. We ain't supposed to say this, but he got to work on his shooting form. Like, it's one too many times where he tries to step back and he can't get the shot off because it looks like he's fumbling with the ball in his hand, but he's not. That's just how he shoots.
Nah, he think it's okay. Because he was able to get some shots off last year. And I remember him saying how people said he wasn't going to make it because of his shooting form. But once they started scouting you and figuring out how to take it away, that's what happens in the NBA. So call your cousin. He Eddie Jones' cousin. Call up Eddie.
Ain't no way he Eddie Jones' cousin.
He does kind of. He look like him. Exactly. Call up Eddie. Tell him to teach you the 3-point layup and go get yourself right.
3-point layup.
3-point layup. Tell him to teach you the free throw line layup.
I shout out to Eddie Jones. I didn't know that at all. Like, that's what's up.
Call up Eddie, man.
Once again, because we always like to say this when I hear stuff like that, that just goes to show how the NBA, like most sports leagues, honestly, is just it's a brotherhood for real. Like, if you know somebody, you relate to somebody, it's a good chance you're gonna get there, as you like to always say.
Yeah, basically, the NBA is full of family members, literally.
So leading up to the All-Star game, All-Star starters are already voted in there. John Morant, first-time All-Star starter, who a lot of people thought coming into the season, he will have the best chance of all the young point guards to be an all-star. Maybe not necessarily a starter, but there's space there for it. Do you think that the veterans are going to kind of let him get a lot of work in, seeing as he's, a younger player at this point, and a lot of those players are either going for championships or just older in their careers, and it might not just be that for them anymore?
I would say it depends on if LeBron is really hurt or not, because I know he knows he's closer to the end than he is the beginning. So this is most definitely going to be his last time playing an All-Star game at Cleveland. So I wouldn't be surprised to see LeBron try to get the MVP this year. But LeBron has missed the last couple games because of injury. And if you remember last year, he didn't really care for the All-Star game because they told him that they weren't going to have one, and then they did. So he was kind of, not just him, a lot of players were upset about the game, so they didn't really want to be there. KD talked about that on his podcast last week, I think. Right. He was saying it was just weird. The energy was weird there because people didn't want to be there. So this year, maybe a little bit different because people expected the All-Star game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see LeBron try to win MVP.
All right, and before we get out of here, last All-Star game related question, or probably last question of the show. What long-term All-Star veteran do you kind of see missing it this year? I think this is the year Dame don't make it. But who do you think is not going to make it that's been like a mainstay as an All-Star?
Yeah, I don't think Dame makes it this year. Really Dame or Anthony Davis. AD is just not coming back. So that's going to probably keep him out. But, yeah, I would say probably Dame more than likely. I'm trying to think of somebody else that would have made more consecutives than Dame that's not out there this year. But, yeah, I think Dame. Damon Westbrook. Yep. Westbrook definitely made it last year. Yeah, Damon Westbrook don't make it this year.
No, I can see that, and of course it would be the two of the top point guards for over the past decade. They probably get knocked out of the All-Star game because of injuries or just not playing up to par with some of the young players. But it's something that just has to happen eventually at some point. I know, of course, before we got here, everybody was reacting crazy to the Tom Brady retirement news, or maybe he hasn't retired, I don't know. But then you had people saying, of course, I ain't gonna be ready for the day when LeBron and KD and Steph and all those players retire. Say somebody throw RJ Barrett in there in one post. But it's like, this is what happened, and I think that we should embrace young players, especially when we see them make the All-Star game, because this is gonna be their league one day, and we're gonna get to a point where it's we better not, we better cherish these players while they're here eventually one day.
Right, the game don't stop for nobody. They all gonna go.
No, but other than that, you got anything else?
No, that's it for this week. Just as always, shout out to all the listeners. We here with y'all every Monday on the Nothing But Net channel through the Dash Radio app. Shout out to the Off the Ball Network. You can catch us every Wednesday for the Hoopers afternoon session, 12 o'clock, Off the Ball Network's Facebook page, the Hoopers YouTube page, and the Hoopers Twitter page. Make sure you go to the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube, just search the Hoopers Pod on YouTube. And also you can find us anywhere podcasts are available. Just search the Hoopers Pod on your favorite podcasting service.
That being said, I'm John Dubya.
Fresh X.
This is the Hoopers Hour of Nothing But Net Radio, presented to you by Dash Radio.